Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. It's your girl. It's a special Keep It Moving show too. Thank you guys for logging on. Sorry I wasn't here this morning, but it is what it is. I'm here now, right? But it's a special Keep It Moving show, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in so late in the evening, Monday evening. But hey, sissy, good morning. Why did I say good morning? Because I'm always on in the morning. So good evening, sis. I'm so glad that you're online with me. Trell, what's good? What's good? Oh, my cousin Tony. Love you, Tony, and I miss you. Oh man, it's the Keep It Moving show. And in the evening time, as always, I want to thank Facebook Live for hanging out with me or logging on and hanging out with me. I did get on this morning, Bub, before the show was to air this morning, and told them that we'll be on tonight, like a special Keep It Moving show thing, right? Right. Like we're prime time. This is sort of like the Barbara Walters primetime special, right?
I think it is.
Only without Barbara Walters.
No, we got something better than Barbara Walters.
We got something better than Barb. So, it's the special Keep It Moving show. It's 9, well, it's not 9, whatever, but wherever it is, it's 25 minutes after the hour, wherever you are on the planet. But Eastern time here in these United States of America, it is 9:25. I thank you guys for logging on. Over the weekend, because wherever you are, it is Monday right here, Monday night. So over the weekend, we lost two great icons, two great American icons. One, is more known in the media, and the other is more so for my people. But we're going to talk about them in a moment. Of course, it is what it is in these United States of America. Over the weekend, there were a lot of rallies going on, protesting against white supremacy, and white supremacy protesting for their right to fight. We spoke about that last Monday. They have a right to fight for their rights just like everybody else, and we're going to get into a little bit of that.
Yeah, question though. When you have a right to fight, does that mean you actually fight?
Well, in some instances, I guess it does, and in some instances, it does not. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that, because there actually seemed to be another terrorist group that they're adding to the list, a domestic terrorist group, and it's not who we think it is. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that as well. Again, I also want to shout out Instagram Live, because Instagram Live is on my line. You know what? I have a stalker. And it's a female stalker. What kind of shit is that? What kind of shit is that? We're going to talk. I don't know if we're going to talk about that, but.
No, I mean, that's interesting. When did you discover?
I didn't know that that's what it was, but in June, I started getting a inbox on Facebook from this person. That's how the person found me, through Facebook. And they started inboxing me, and then they started video calling me, like they're calling me on Facebook now. And of course, I didn't know that's what it was. Maybe it's the wrong person, whatever. So I never responded. Then the person started hitting me up. Well, of course, they're looking for me now. And I don't know this person or whatever, so I blocked her. And she found another way to contact me. So she's still contacting me. So she deserved the title of stalker. So, if you want to act like a stalker, you get called out, and I'll call you out. You're a stalker, Jasmine. But anyway, we're going to keep it moving. It's a special edition of the Keep It Moving show. Today's soundtrack is by none other than the rider himself, Tupac Shakur. And I figure what a great person to have as a soundtrack, because of the late Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was a rider for our people in our country. And, we want to show some love to Dick Gregory today. And, again, Tupac is hip hop, and hip hop Tupac is our soundtrack of the day. So it's the Keep It Moving show. If you guys want to hit us up, we got the studio lines open because you know what's good. 240-455-5934. One more time, it's 240-455-5934. Let's listen to a little Tupac real quick when we come back. We are the ultimate media outlet. It's the Keep It Moving show too. It's the Keep It Moving show too, right here on elifemedia.net.
Lay an eternal
President
rest
45 is on right now, and we're going to let you listen to a few moments of it. Hopefully we'll get a couple gaffes. Hopefully we'll get a couple gaffes.
There's more courage, sacrifice, and love in those hallowed grounds than in any other spot on the face of the earth. Many of those who have fought and died in Afghanistan enlisted in the months after September 11th, 2001. They volunteered for a simple reason. They loved America, and they were determined to protect her. Now we must secure the cause for which they gave their lives. We must unite to defend America from its enemies abroad. We must restore the bonds of loyalty among our citizens at home. And we must achieve an honorable and enduring outcome worthy of the enormous price that so many have paid. Our actions, and in the months to come, all of them will honor the sacrifice of every fallen hero, every family who lost a loved one, and every wounded warrior who shed their blood in defense of our great nation. With our resolve, we will ensure that your service and that your families will bring about the defeat of our enemies and the arrival of peace. We will push onward to victory with power in our hearts, courage in our souls, and everlasting pride in each and every one of you. Thank you. May God bless our military, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was President 45. President 45, affectionately known as President Pussy Hands on Facebook. It's the Keep It Moving show.
Oh, because when he was running for office, they ran the
He wanted
they
to
ran a skit where he said, "Because I'm a
pussies.
celebrity, I can grab women by the pussy and they won't do nothing." When they ran that tape.
Yeah.
Now, what happened a couple of weeks ago? There was an article, and I believe it was an interview, Kim, and the person said that one of the ways that someone of Trump's stature and mentality recovers from all the negativity is you go to war. And then your ratings go up, your approval ratings go up, and what he's doing now is he's setting the ground for multiple military campaigns by going someplace that's already been, send some more troops there, get people, then watch the ratings, watch the bump, whatever. But the person was very explicit in saying that they hope he doesn't take this road, but one thing's for certain, that if we get into military conflict, then he'll be seen as presidential. For example, that speech he just gave, that little bit we listened to was the best, I've heard him speak.
I mean, when he speaks very slowly, and he sticks to the teleprompter, he sounds like he actually may know what he's talking about. Now, let me just say this. By no stretch of the imagination do I think Donald Trump is stupid. I mean, he wasn't able to become what he is by being a stupid man. I mean, he basically did all of this riding off of bankruptcy after bankruptcy after bankruptcy. So he's not a stupid man by far.
I think he's stupid, but I think he's very.
I just don't
think he's very clever.
I don't think he's stupid. I think clever is the word. I think clever is a good word, but I don't think we can put. Personally, I don't think we could put stupid and Donald Trump in the same.
But we can agree that he's very clever.
He is. Hopefully, I did hear that he was trying to put 100,000 more troops in Afghanistan. I'm really saying that he wants to get the war over with, and if he puts that many over there, we can get it done sooner than later. And start spending money in this country. I actually agree with that. I don't agree with the number of troops going over there. I think we should just end the war. But we have such a presence over there now. As a matter of fact, hopefully he's still online. Mark Stevens, he's in the military, and I know he's been back and forth in the Middle East. But I don't know what would end. How it would end if we just pull all the troops out of there and just came home and saved the money. I think they don't want to let the poppy go. They don't want to let the poppy go in others' hands. You use poppy for heroin, and they don't want that money to go to somebody else's hands. They want to keep it for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, and Afghanistan has a history. I think Russia got into a conflict with Afghanistan. And after a while, they just said, the heck with this. Navigating the terrain, trying to get out the caves, the mountains. They were like, you can't win because you're not fighting necessarily a conventional army of people.
Yeah.
So you really can't win. All they're going to do is create new pockets of conflict.
Right. Which is that's how it is.
Yeah, what you're hoping is that their willpower gives out, but then you don't understand the Middle Eastern mindset. Their willpower does not give out.
Right. I mean, ours does. I want to go watch the game.
Right.
I ain't got time to be fighting.
Israel,
Carolyn,
the Arab nations and Israeli nations, they just keep dying.
Yeah, that's how they
come
roll.
back to life and die again.
Yeah, that's how they roll. Not us. Carolyn from VA says she doesn't think he's smart. He just has smart people working for him. I mean, hey, that's the definition of a leader. Hire the smart people to do the job for you. They know what they're doing. It's the Keep It Moving show, too, right here on elifemedia.net. We are prime time. I want to thank Roland for allowing this to happen. We had some things going on here at the studio this morning, so we pushed it back a little bit. I hear Haki, the Success Scholar, had a great show. So I wanted to say what's up to him. Sorry I didn't get to see him before I left. I wonder if DC is the only place with bad traffic at 9 o'clock at night. What kind of messes? I mean, just good grief. You think I could just get on 50 and drive on in and hit 495? You can't. I mean, I'm stuck on both highways. It's crazy. But to keep it moving, I want to talk a little bit about the marches that we had around the country this weekend. Basically, to the white supremacist groups, got permits to have rallies all over the country, certain places all over the country, to protest for their rights. They have every right to do that. That's what they did it legally. They went by the books. They got their permits. They went out there and they protested. I think my only thing with that is, now I know a lot of the states that they're protesting in, they have open carry or right to carry or something like that, and they're actually expressing their right to do that. But also, when do we have the right to walk down the street with torches and bats and chanting? I mean, is that part of the rights of bearing arms, Roland? Is that?
I think from a legal standpoint, I don't think it's legal federally or in most states to be able to assemble in a riotous fashion with those kinds of armaments and those kinds of displays. I think there has to be, there's no reason, in other words, if we did it, there'd be a law right in play. And they'd say, if nothing else, you say that these people are causing a public disturbance.
Right.
That they're a public nuisance.
Right.
That they're aiming to incite a riot.
Okay, I can get with that one, definitely.
Black folks would get hit with all of that.
Yes.
Had we, and I really would love for a bunch of us to get together and go do that.
Do the same thing.
And see what happens.
The first time we did that, it may not be. The first time recorded when that happened was when Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale went up on the state capitol in California with their arms, and the police rode up on them. They was like, "Sir, we got the right to bear arms. This is our constitutional right." And fortunately, they got out of there alive during those times, and those were very hostile times as well. So, it is funny because had Black and brown people been marching with those torches, yelling, whites can't replace us, and whites get back, and these are our streets. I shudder to think what that was.
Complete mayhem.
I mean, I wanted to tell this story the last time. I think this was 88 or 89. Some friends of mine, and I went to Virginia Beach. Shout out to them.
You talked about that.
I did. Yeah. And they went, I mean, it was literally 4 or 5 different sets of law enforcement, Virginia Beach, Norfolk,
Change the traffic pattern.
I mean, they changed the traffic pattern to this day. Atlantic Street goes one way and Pacific Street goes the other way. When we were there, they both were 2-lane streets.
By each other.
Yeah, and not anymore.
They did the same thing in what was that, Myrtle Beach area, wherever, where they do the biker's thing every year. They did the same
Bike
thing.
Week. Yeah,
they changed the traffic pattern.
Yeah, it was just something terrible. And you hear people still saying 2017, is this real? Yeah, what are you talking about?
Every time I hear that, I wonder what that means. What does that mean, Kim?
To me, it means nothing because, everyone knows I just turned 50. But 50 years ago, I mean, I used to say that we were the first generation of freed American Africans in this country. I used to say my generation was, but that's not true. I think maybe this generation coming up may be the first freed generation, because we are always having to deal with some sort of suppression or oppression that was put on us by the systemic racism in this country, that when we think we are free, or when we think that everything is equal, something happens to remind us that that's just not true.
That's a good point. And if this current presidential administration gets 8 years, and the downline administrations in Congress and Senate follow suit, then in 8 years our children will be worse off than we are, because they're going to repeal all affirmative action. Now they're telling police, even through code, hey, rough them up.
Right.
You know, we already know.
I mean, that wasn't even code when 45 stood up at that rally in Long Island, and he was speaking to the police officers. He said to them, go ahead and be rough. He said, don't worry about being nice to them, rough them up. He basically said that. We all watched him say that.
So you have that. In addition to it, precedent has already been set that you can shoot and kill an unarmed black man who is not committing a crime at the time that you kill them, and just say, I fear for my life. So, you know, that's basically open death sentence on all of us, because if somebody pulls me over and I take a deep breath and I go to scratch my eyebrow and they say, oh, he made a sudden move, I fear for my life, is a wrap.
Well, you know, speaking of fearing for your life, over the weekend also, there's a lot of stuff that's been happening. Over the weekend in Kissimmee, Florida, 2 police officers were killed and 4 others injured. In Jacksonville, Florida, 2 police officers critically injured. In Pennsylvania, 1 police officer killed and 5 others wounded. So people are really starting to fight back, because this police brutality, you know, has people a little scared. People are shook when they see the police ride up behind them. You know, even someone as dark as we are, our knuckles turn white on the steering wheel, holding the steering wheel, because you don't know if it's your turn. You don't know if he's pulling you over. Why is he pulling me over? Oh God, did I forget to pay any tickets? You know, so
you start tripping.
Yeah, people start tripping, and now, you know, the police officers are in a position where now, unfortunately for them and unfortunately for us, that they're going to start to honestly be scared for their lives.
You know, would you say that's natural? That is natural progression of what happens. Yeah. You know, so you know, if you are an aggressor, at some point people become an aggressor towards you. I don't care what the laws say.
Right.
So, and I know that at least 1 or 2 circumstances, these were actually ex-military people that were shooting at the police. Right.
The black man from Kissimmee, Florida, was a former Marine.
And then so in Texas as well, Dallas, Texas last year. So so part of what's happening is the policemen, and I pray to God that they'll get it, they have essentially a 9-to-5 job, and then they want to come home to their families. Right. They're not actually in the military where they're not coming home for 2 years and it's kill or be killed. That's not the case on our streets.
Well, what are they going to do about it? Because they're actually, it seems as if they're trying to militarize the police department. And you have people that's coming back from the military now being turned into policemen. They don't have the mindset. I work with a lot of them, and the PTSD that they suffer from is real.
Well, like I said, you're going to get, we can sit here all day long and talk, and we can hear on television and the different political pundits say, you know, this is what we're supposed to do as a country. Well, no. What happens is, even in God's word, it says, if you do this, then I will do that. Mm-hmm. So what happens is, if you create this atmosphere that we're having out there, then you're going to get a natural response. You can write all the laws you want. You know, eventually it becomes a situation where it becomes anarchy and every man for himself, or whatever the case is.
I'm taking a deep breath. I want you guys to do the same. It's the Keep It Moving show, too, right here on elifemedia.net. If anybody wants to call in and join in any of the conversations, 240-455-5934.
You know, and let me give you quick evidence of that.
Yeah.
And you real hip to this. All that Colin Kaepernick stuff last year, and then Jason Whitlock coming in saying, oh, it's just a fad. Kaepernick is trying to get his ratings up, and on and on and on, right? Kaepernick, you don't even see him on the scene. He's not saying a word, right?
At all.
Right? But check it out. Tell me those protests aren't growing. Tell me that folks are not talking about now boycotting the NFL and are serious about it. And then I just saw online that even during the preseason, where guys are really worried about whether or not they're going to make the team, several Cleveland Brown players
are sitting and kneeling,
during the national anthem. You can't legislate.
You can't.
Can't
when
legislate
we
against
come
it.
back, we're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk about boycott. We're going to talk about Colin Kaepernick. I filmed a live podcast with my friend and client, Easy Street, from another radio station.
You can announce it.
So,
He's big time.
Yeah, it's from Easy Street from WKYS
Big
Kiss
time.
FM right here in our nation's capital. And we filmed a podcast over the weekend about Colin Kaepernick and boycotting the NFL. So when we come back,
we got to get our hands on
we
that
come back,
podcast,
we're going to talk about that. It's going to be so live. We're going to talk about the podcast. We're going to talk about boycotting the NFL. We're going to talk about Colin Kaepernick right here on elifemedia.net. Tupac Shakur is the soundtrack. Ambitions of a Rider. We come back.
You want me to go back to that?
Nope.
You made me fall in love with that MC Light.
Oh man, Tupac.
Let me find Tupac.
Yeah.
So
Roland was
keep talking, Kim.
Roland was so stuck on that MC Light paper thin last week. He can't get enough of it.
All right, so let's funk on some Tupac. Here
it's Tupac right here. Oh, prime time.
Positions on the floor, it's like erotic. Ironic, cause I'm somewhat psychotic. I'm hitting switches on bitches like I've been fixed when I drop it. Up and down like a roller coaster. I'm up the side, I ain't quick until the show is over. Cause I'm a rider, in and out, it's like a robbery. I'll probably be a freak and let you get on top of me. Either rockin' these nights full of Alizé. A living legend, you ain't heard about these niggas play these Cali days. See, Lawrence Tucker, you's a motherfucker. Instead of trying to help a nigga, you destroy your brother. Worse than the others, Bill Clinton, Mr. Bob Dole. You're too old to understand the way the game's so. You're lame, so I gotta hit you with the hot facts. On some release, I'm making millions, niggas top that. They wanna sit to me, they'd rather see me in the cell. Living in hell, only a few of us are in a tale. Now everybody talking about us, I could give a fuck.
Let's keep it moving show right here on elifemedia.net. Thank you for logging on. You know, normally I'm on every Monday morning from 11 a.m. I forgot I was going to say 9. From 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, wherever you are on the planet. But today we decided to do like a prime time show, and I'm like loving this time. I feel a little different, bub. Feel a little different.
Yeah, it's cosmic, ain't it, baby?
Yeah. I think we might have to do something with this. You know what? Speaking of changing the time, it is time for football. And I'm very, very, very excited for America's team. You know, America's team is the Dallas Cowboys. You know, everybody knows that. Like everybody in the whole wide world knows that. Dallas Cowboys are America's team and no one else. Not the Skids, not the Beagles, not the Patriots, not anybody else but America's team. So, anyway. Facebook.
We just don't have a lot of time tonight, so I ain't talking trash.
But,
go on, baby, do your thing.
Okay, so what I will tell you, a friend and a client of mine, his name is Easy Street. He is on one of the local radio stations here. He's an air personality right here in Washington, D.C. And we did a podcast taping for his show Friday, Thursday or Friday, one of them. And we were talking about boycotting the NFL. And we were also talking about, Colin Kaepernick and all of this hoopla surrounding him. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to boycott the NFL. I want to see my team whoop some ass this season. I want to see my team whip ass. You hear me? I want to see my team. So this is what I was thinking. Instead of boycotting the, NFL, I will watch them anyway, because if you think about it, it's really about only three teams in the league that needs a quarterback anyway. So they're not even blackballing Kaepernick. Nobody needs a quarterback. But if we want to support Colin Kaepernick, he has been doing so much. So big up to Colin Kaepernick with everything that he's been doing for everybody around the globe. I mean, just the other day, he gave away his sneaker collection to a lot of homeless people in Seattle and San Francisco area. So,
Why do you say only three teams need a quarterback?
Only three teams really need a quarterback. Everybody else is set. What team needs quarterback? The Jets? Not Cleveland anymore. The Jets and who else?
Cleveland have?
Cleveland has they signed that
Osweiler?
Is that who he is?
Brock Osweiler?
I don't know his name,
yeah,
and I was getting ready
Osweiler.
to call him something else, but for the sake of not.
So we're not talking about
racist.
necessarily starting quarterback. We're talking about.
We're talking about no. I'm talking starter quarterback because that's what Kaepernick said that he wants to be. He is a starter. He wants to be a starter. There are no starting positions, with the exception of New York Jets. And who else? Who else needs a starting quarterback?
Well, everybody has a starting quarterback. The Jets have a starting quarterback. They just might not like him.
Okay,
but everybody,
yeah.
right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of...
Oh, and Miami. Miami needed one. They went and got that bum, Jay Cutler.
And also that's part of it, real quick, is that if you're a quarterback in the NFL and somebody brings Colin Kaepernick as number 2, then your starting position...
Is on the countdown.
Is in jeopardy.
Yes.
Because he's already demonstrated the capacity.
He can take you.
Because he took it from Alex Smith.
Yeah.
And by the end of training camp, they sent Alex Smith to Kansas City.
And they went to the Super Bowl.
Come on now.
So yeah.
So everybody knows what this cat can do.
But my thing is, if we want to support Colin Kaepernick and what he is standing for, which is standing for us, I think that we would be better off supporting his cause instead of
boycotting the NFL.
Boycotting the NFL. I think we would be better off if we support his cause. Then the sponsors would see that as well. Colin Kaepernick is doing big things in a lot of countries, including this one. And if we put our money and our mouths behind him, imagine what would happen to his and a lot of other people's organizations. And it might start something big for our communities as a whole.
Now, is that some of what you and Easy Street came up with?
Yes, and his other guest, his name is DJ Adam also. As we discussed it, it was just a whole thing of not really supporting boycotting the NFL, but maybe the sponsors and put more support behind Colin Kaepernick.
Awesome.
Well, before, and I know that was quick. This is a quick Keep It Moving show today, but I want to thank everybody for logging on. But before we get out of here, I really want to give our condolences to the family and friends of the late, great Dick Gregory. He is an American icon. He was a civil rights activist and actor, comedian, father, son, brother, storyteller, some say conspiracy theorist. So peace to him. Also, before we keep it moving to Dick Gregory, I also want to give our condolences and say farewell to Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis was a goofy, funny guy, and I liked watching him in The Nutty Professor when he played that. He also did a lot of great things for the muscular dystrophy disease that is still rampant, and he did the telethon every New Year's Eve, I believe it was, or New Year's Day, or something like that, and I think he did that for 50 years or so, something like that. So he died yesterday. Dick Gregory died Saturday. Dick Gregory, wow, was so awesome that even people younger than myself was starting to get into Dick Gregory. What he was saying, how he thought, and his no-nonsense attitude. He said what he meant, which is one reason why I also chose Tupac for the soundtrack of the day, because Tupac was also a revolutionary and he said what he wanted. And Dick Gregory, no matter who liked it, said what the heck he wanted. And before we leave, the one thing that I heard Dick Gregory say, I was watching it on Roland Martin, and TV One did a lot of things about Dick Gregory today. And the one thing he said, Martin Luther King was getting ready to go march in Alabama. And I think that was the Selma trip. And the president called Dick Gregory to ask Dick Gregory to tell Martin Luther King not to go. But Dick Gregory had been out drinking the night before and that night, and so he was drunk. And his wife said, babe, the president of the United States has been calling you. And Dick Gregory is like, man, whatever, I'll call dude tomorrow. So the President Kennedy called him back and he was like, listen, Martin Luther King is on his way, to Alabama, and I want you to stop him. So Dick Gregory said, let me tell you something. He said, should I call you Mr. President or should I call you boy? And then he said, the president stopped and he said, listen. He said, whether you think Martin Luther King is wrong, and he is wrong, doesn't make a difference to me. He said, you could be right as you want to be, but I'm with Martin Luther King as wrong as he is, and as far as he's concerned, you're wrong. Now, I'm paraphrasing all the rest of it, because as I started talking, I forgot what the heck he said. But for the most part, that is what he said. He basically told President Kennedy that don't call me no more with this bull, and I'm standing by my boy Martin, and whether he's wrong or not, I'm down with him. So peace out. Don't call me with this nonsense. Click. And the one thing that I think that all of us could get from Mr. Dick Gregory was his sense of pride in himself and his community. And if he believed in something and he stood for something, he let you know, and he wasn't afraid of what you thought. He walked his own walk. He talked his own talk. And he did that until the day he died. And apparently, he went into the hospital with a bacteria infection stemming from a urinary tract infection, which he ended up having an aortic aneurysm, which basically is a heart attack. So everybody, he didn't have to leave this earth, but he did, and he left it too soon. So with that, I'll say rest in peace and rest in power to our grandfather, Dick Gregory. And everybody out there, I thank you very much for logging on to the Keep It Moving Show Prime Time Edition. Prime Time. I thank Bubba for having me come on in. And Ron, because I haven't seen Ron in so long. Thank Facebook Live for hanging out with me today. Pee-wee, thank you so much.
Pee-wee.
PK, a man that stood up for many. So we need to stand up and sit down on justice. All right, PK. I talked with him about an hour for face-to-face. That was Big Reg. That's what's up, Reg. Hey, Nick. Yes, Pee-wee, I did mention that he was a comedian. I appreciate you guys for logging on. It's 10 o'clock Eastern time, wherever you are on the planet. It's 10 o'clock Eastern time here. I got to go to work tomorrow. make the donuts and stuff. So peace out. I'll talk to you guys next Monday on the Keep It Moving show, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, right here on elifemedia.net. I appreciate you guys so much. Can you play Me and My Girlfriend before we leave?
I had something else queued up.
You had something cute?
We'll just
Okay.
keep moving. Just
Okay.
say goodbye to the peoples and we'll find something.
Bye to the peoples. Bye to the peoples.
When you punk ass niggas don't. Nigga West Side.